Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. It's going to be our show before the hiatus. We take usually a 2-month break and then we come back fine and ready to go in the football season. And I always wonder when we get to the football season, who's coming in second place with the picks. And so we'll come up with a format. Look at the face. Look at the face. We'll come up with the format.
Every year, bro.
Every year, Black accusing me of cheating and fudging the numbers. If you miss any of our shows, go back to Chocolate 108.1 WYDL on our YouTube page. And if you miss us, go back through all the shows, the NFL picks, things of that sort. You'll get the scenario. I haven't fudged any numbers.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Before we start next season, somebody gonna need a lottery ticket.
All right, let's get to our topics real quick. Shakira Richardson will miss the Tokyo Olympics. I want the thoughts and reactions from this, Black, because you had a lot of players who didn't say anything when Colin Kaepernick was doing his thing, who were coming out saying we should boycott the Olympics, this, that, the other. And I'm saying, wait a minute, is this the hill you want to die on? She knew that the rules was she's not supposed to put any kind of different substances in her body. She said she did it anyway. And what bothered me about this generation seems that they can do things without consequence. And you got people who are co-signing this. And I just don't understand it. Bruh, take it.
Here's what I find interesting about this, because we live in a situation, our generation now, we're generation of folks now where they think weed is it's their own way of life. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like they think that's what it is. But you're on a 5 point. They think they can do things that people just supposed to be. When my mother was feeling, but nobody cares, baby. In real life, nobody cares. No one really cares. You knew the rules going in. I saw Steven Jackson, the thing you said to me. And Steven Jackson, to me, has got to be pretty careful, because he's treading a line where his credibility at some point is going to be shot. It's almost there, but it's going to be shot. I feel the same way that you feel, in a sense, about the Colin Kaepernick. Black athletes kept their mouth shut. They said nothing, act like it didn't exist. This woman get caught smoking pot. Y'all coming out of the woodwork like, Phillips, all this stuff. Let's be honest. If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. Phillips he did not pass a drug test. He was recorded smoking out of a bong. There's a difference. So when you're throwing up Mike Phillips' name, it's not accurate. So if you're going to bring somebody in far as comparison, you got to understand this. And to me, I think I said this when I texted this back to you, Puma. Well, Black, to me, find a way to use the word boycott in a trifling, petty manner such as this. You're doing disrespect to the folks that really boycotted 40, 50 years ago when it really meant something. To me, if you boycott the Olympics, what point are you proving? Go back and think about your ancestors that walked around in a hot Alabama sun for about a year and a half and chose not to take the bus morning, noon, and night. If you can't do something that serious, excuse my language, shut the fuck up and keep boycott out of your mouth. Because I'm tired of our Negroes. Every time they get in their feelings, we're going to boycott, with nothing to gain from it. You boycott the Olympics, what do you care? They don't want you over there in the first place. They really don't. So I said this a couple of, I don't know why Black Americans going there in the first place. So it should have been a unified boycott from the beginning. But now you want to basically boycott because they told her, you can't smoke pot and come over here and run the race. Seriously. And I'm just going to say this, man. I saw a headline. 17 people got shot in Chicago over the weekend. Who's talking about that? Who's talking? One woman that looked like a transgender, whoever, in my opinion, I'll just say what it is. Got caught smoking pot. We should all basically turn our TVs on. Miss me with that, bro. Miss me with it. We are a bunch of misguided people from A to freaking Z.
Yeah. I really didn't understand this. When athletes like Odell Beckham, Steven Jackson, we should boycott the Olympics. And then you hear another athlete say, there are a lot of Black athletes who are going to the Olympics and worked hard, who followed the rules. Why are we being attacked for going, things of that sort? Your perception of what's going on here, man.
It's crazy, man. And I even had to go to a resident expert. I'll talk about that in my final shot. But I went to a resident expert to try to get some clarification on this situation. But the young lady, what can you say? I understand emotion. I understand different things. I was telling somebody the other day that I kind of feel like this generation is a throwback to like the late 60s and the 70s, like almost like the hippies, man, because they feel like they can just do whatever. But back then they were doing it for a reason, right? There was a lot of pressure and things like that. And even though we have the Black Lives Matter situation going on right now, it was so much, it was so much more devastating back in the day. But they have taken the attitude, a lot of them, like whatever. And I'm not saying that was her case. She said she had pressure on her and that's why she did it, whatever. But when you have something that you work for so hard, I know pressure brings on a lot when you lose people in your life, but she was this close, man. This close. It's to a point where we know that athletes that are like professional athletes, you know, they know that it's time to be tested. They smoke, and I can name a few of them that allegedly smoke, and then they get off of it. And I'm like, you're so close. Why risk all that when you are already gonna be the belle of the ball? That's the part I don't understand. And I know she's young. I know we all make mistakes, but you were so close. And then to come back around and to expect that they're going to let her run again, they weren't going to let her run. I knew that from the beginning because now they're saying if you let her run during the relays, you're taking away from the alternates that did the right thing. You're never going to win that battle. I don't know how many times you appeal. And she probably knew that deep down in her heart, but I just never understood when you're so close. I've done some knucklehead things in my life, but like somebody said, they're gonna give you $1 million if you can just wait 3 months and just keep your nose clean. Don't do nothing. Oh man, something happened devastating. You're like, damn, I gotta smoke. 3 months, bro. Whatever it was. That's the part I don't get, but I can't judge her. But unfortunately, she's not gonna be able to run, and that's part of the rules. They're not gonna give you no breaks, bro. They're not gonna give you any breaks. And anybody else, the other folks talking about boycotting and whatever, why do that to the other people? They put the work in. Not only that, you think about it from this scenario, the Olympics were supposed to be last year. So then we come back and we had to wait a year. So those athletes had to still stay in shape. They still had to come and compete. So why take that away from them because you're frustrated by the rules that somebody unfortunately broke?
I'm gonna say something real quick, boom.
Sure.
I don't know if you'll caught this, but Gordon is applying for reinstation and to play in NFL again. Come on, man. NFL need to tell him no. Stop thinking you're doing him a favor. Tell the brother no. I mean, enough is enough. I mean, he's had many opportunities, but here again, we will make excuses for trifling Negroes, bro. We need to stop that. It is what it is. Let's stop making excuses. It is what it is. I understand people have problems. I understand that stuff. But we need to, within our own, right, our own people, let's stop making excuses when it's trifling. Let's call it what it is. There's no way in the world that brother should be able to put a uniform on and play football anymore. There's no way.
Yeah, I feel that, and it's about accountability, and she has to suffer the consequences in this. If you, especially when you said, "I knew it was wrong, and I did it anyway," that shows me that maybe there's a bigger problem that she needs to be dealing with, and we're not helping her by boycotting. And also, you know, how do you cope with your problems? I know family trauma is devastating, but if you have to use that to cope with the problem, then there might be a bigger problem here that we need to deal with. But she got to be accountable for this. It's in the rules. Everybody hasn't legalized weed. It's not legalized everywhere. So these were the rules. They were set up. You know, took a chance and you lost. And hopefully you'll learn this lesson and come back better. But let's go to the next story. Rachel Nichols comments at ESPN. They moved her out of covering sidelines for the finals. Somebody recorded her talking on the phone, man, and she apologized. But do you think this is the end for Rachel Nichols at this particular point?
I don't know if it's the end, but they gave her a little cooling off period. I think they tried to show her who's in charge. And unfortunately, with all that's going on with the Black Lives Matter and all these other things that are changing, I think they were trying to say, we do not want to mess this up or to be seen to messing up like we favor one individual or the other, particularly her. And the way what she said was just blatant. And what was bizarre to me, though, was she was having these conversations with LeBron James people. And I'm like, wow. And I'm saying to myself, so you must have really felt strongly about this. You weren't talking to your girlfriends or somebody just in general. You're talking, and they said, I think she forgot to turn her mic off. because she's supposed to turn her mic off when she was talking to them. But she's talking to them like, yeah. And at first I didn't think it was that bad till I heard the part where she says, yeah, she can do what she wants to. She's a great talent now, but she's not taking my stuff. Like, they better not come for my job. Like, she's not that good. I was like, really? You had the audacity to say that? Is that what you said? And they had her and they were like, okay, so you need to time out. And now they just, not only did they just kind of put her in the back, they just kind of took her off the main stage, which is her bread and butter for years, and just replaced her. Like, let's keep it moving. And you go sit in the corner and think about what we told you, and we'll talk about it later. I was like, I know she must be like, look, this is what they think of me. This is what I can only imagine what's going through her head right now, even though she gave a little soft, tearful apology.
Yeah. Black, they haven't missed a beat with Malika Andrews. They just plugged her right in. She's been doing a great job. I've been on her bandwagon for a long time, ever since she was covering the bubble. And is this a wake-up call for Rachel Nichols? Will ESPN hold on to her? Because I can see the other sister taking over the jump.
Yeah, I think she's on her way off, bro. They're not going to pull the cord that fast. But Ice made a point I want to go back to. She was talking to LeBron people when this happened, bro. And we act like this happened a couple of weeks ago. This was recorded back when the bubble took place. The person that recorded this sat on this. And it must have got out, it was available, because ESPN knew this. They knew about this, but they didn't respond to it. So what happened is, because if she was doing the interview, she was in her hotel room. So her mic was left on. And the people in the truck heard it, whoever basically heard it, so they knew what she said. They took it to ESPN from I'm gathering. ESPN was like, well, we're just kind of let it brush over. What happened was they told her there's a possibility that Maria's going to take over the finals. This is when the bubble, not even before they started regular season. This is how long this has been sitting around. So what happened is just almost like TMZ. New York Times, what's the name said? Somebody said, hey, we got a juicy audio tape here. How much you willing to kind of put up for this? Bang, bang, bang. Now, when it comes out, she's like, oh, wait a minute. I tried. No. I mean, I look at it like this, in a sense to where the ESPN now has egg on their face because they should have responded to it immediately when they had the tape. They should have took care of her then, and no one would have known, bro. They could have suspended her, whatever the case they wanted to do, would have known. Now, I'm not going to go deep with the diversity part of it. I mean, I think it was stupid what she said, but realistically, she's jealous of Maria. Maria's coming, bro. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was a story in New York about a week ago where she's up for a new contract. I think they're paying her $1 million a year now. They want to offer her $5 million. She's like, no, I want Stephen A. money. I want $8 million. Plus, I want a spot on Good Morning America. I want to be coming on Good Morning America. So she's making demands. Well, and she's going to get some of it now, especially. She's a smart woman. So what's happening with Rachel, she's been the golden child, a golden woman, because, hey, LeBron loves her, NBA players, they're hugging her, and all this stuff. There's a rumor that she slept with Jimmy Butler last year in the bubble, all of this. So they've all been goosing up to her. And then she looks at this young African woman that's coming along, who's dominating ESPN when it comes to college sports. And they say to her, guess what? Come on over to NBA basketball. You can dominate this too. She's in her feelings, bro. She's in her feelings. She reminds me a little bit. I don't know if you guys forgot about this. Remember a couple of years ago when Pam Oliver got taken down a little bit? And I can't think of the lady that came in, and Pam Oliver came out on TV and reports the same. They're only doing it because she's this, she's that, blah, 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 blah. Women got to realize, and men knew this a long time ago, no matter how good you are at something, there's somebody in the factory getting to be better than you. It's just what it is. And sooner or later, they're a little prettier, they're a little better, and they're going to take your spot. Maria has taken your spot. Someday someone will take her spot. I think Rachel Richards on her way. I don't think, everybody acts like she does a great job. Have you seen some of the questions she asked at the end of the game? Have you seen some of them? Her work on the jump is basically lame. Now, I watched a podcast today with Dan Levitar, Jamil Hill was up there. They all love her. She worked hard, but then again, if she worked hard, she'd be a little better than what she is, in my opinion. Because I've seen her questions, I've seen her jump. I'm not impressed, bro. Either one of us can go up there and do the jump. Let's be honest. She has no penetrating questions. She's too funny with laughing with them. If you had Scottie Pippen and her up there at the same time, that show was weak, bro. Weak. Here's my opinion too. Someone brought this up. It's real interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see. Paul, I can't think of his name. The ex-Boston player.
Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce had something at his home, and they got rid of him. Got rid of him. This lady says something while she's basically on the clock. That's disparaging to what the manager is doing and hits it on the diversity level. You got to treat this, bro. You can't basically bring her back next year and the kumbaya. I love the way Taylor answered. She wouldn't even respond to her. Sit in your pool and soak, baby. Soak it all up.
Wow.
Can I thing in there?
Sure.
I think I read something, and I'll be remiss if I make sure. I'm going to make sure I got this right. The reason why I think they found out about it was because I think there was a producer who was African American, a sister, that found out and told Maria Taylor about it and found out about it. So they suspended the producer for leaking it and sharing the information. And I think she has since left ESPN.
They suspended her.
Yeah, they suspended, but I think she's left now.
Okay.
She left the company now. Yeah. So, but that's how it came out, because the sister actually let her know. Yeah, you might want to peep this. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Oh boy. Man, let's go to the NBA basketball, man. We've been talking about this for a long time, boy. You just, man, watch your setup. That's what my boy used to always tell me. Watch your setup, bro. Watch your setup. NBA basketball, man. The Western and Eastern Conference Finals. I know, Black, you said you were kind of going for Atlanta. You thought Atlanta, that Milwaukee was ripe for the picking for Atlanta, but Milwaukee, Middleton, those guys put it together. And it's almost like they stopped playing with Atlanta and said, listen, we need to be in the finals. You know, you had your fun. We're going to put you to bed right now. Black, the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. And what did you see in game one of the finals with Phoenix and Milwaukee?
I'm going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals first, because I'll say this, bro. I mean, there's a bunch of ifs or whatever the case may be. I think if Trey didn't have got hurt, they would have got past Milwaukee, bro. At the same time, I think Giannis going out made Milwaukee play different, allowed them to get past Atlanta. But I think, you know, that injury kind of helped Milwaukee kind of step back and kind of realize, hey, something they could be doing different without Giannis, helped them propel, and Middleton's kind of stepped up. He even had the point guard played out of his mind, which he doesn't play that way when Giannis is on the court for whatever reason. But I think they stepped up. And if that's the case, to me, they should have done that earlier in that series. They just couldn't when Giannis was healthy. They couldn't. I think Atlanta's set for the future. They really are, man. They're set. So I'm happy to see that they got this far. The Western Conference, the Clippers. It's interesting because I think they did the best they could. It's sad. I think that team, that organization, has linked themselves to a cat that's not worth it. And I'm talking about Paul George. You can go whatever you want. And I'm not saying you should have got them there based on Leonard not being there, but guess what? They just signed you a contract. You can't go running high. You can't be shooting and missing the rim. It's just, he gives it to you, he takes away. He gives it to you, he takes it away. And I'm going to give Phoenix credit, man. Monty Williams has developed a team and put a team together, because I watched him a little bit in the regular season. I have to admit, I wasn't impressed. But once the lights got bright in the playoffs, they're playing different basketball. They're playing smart basketball. And I listened to Chris Paul say this last night at the end of the game. If you guys caught it, they got on him because they want to play faster and he's slowing them down. He wants to play old school, and they're like, no, we want the team to play faster. And I said that last week or a couple of weeks ago. When he comes on the floor with them, he slows them down. You got young guns, bro. They want to get out there and run. You got to run with them. You can't slow them down. So I'm glad he heard that. With that being said, I was listening to an ex-Chicago Bull player, Detroit, Miami Heat player. He won a championship. Miami. I can't think of his name now. Walker. And he made an excellent point. He said that they must find a way to make Giannis their third option and put him in the 5 spot, let him play defense, because he's not healthy for one, but the team tends to flow better when he's not basically bringing the ball up, trying to act like a point guard. And I agree with that. For them to win this series, they're going to have to, man, because if not, they're not going to be able to hang in the court with Phoenix, bro. Booker's on a mission. That cat is on a mission, and he's bringing Ayton with him. Booker is on a series quietly. He's like the quiet assassin. That brother wants a ring, and he won it this year. And I don't know if Milwaukee has the willpower to match that. Last night game was pretty good. They battled back, but it almost seemed like Phoenix never got concerned when the score started shrinking. They just kind of basically fall back into what they knew to get the league back up, and they did it at that polish. And Monty hasn't playing that well. And not only that, man, that's a young group that really are inspired by each other. They love each other. They play for each other. They have no egos. They put all that aside. And for a young team, other than Chris Paul, it's hard to see that often. I'm gonna pat Chris Paul on the back because he finally got there. In some years, he could have made it based on injuries. He didn't make it, but the brother never let it got him down. He's playing hard. He's showing now, hey, he deserves to be a champion. So I didn't want to root for any team, and I'm trying not to, but it's hard for me not to root for the Phoenix Suns just on that fact alone, because that cat been for 15 years battling, man, with a lot of disappointments. Other teams have gave up on him. So if he made it this far, I think I'm gonna favor the Suns to win this. I want the Suns to win this.
Yeah, I mean, being 36 years old and going for your first championship, and he played like it last night. He wanted it. He wanted it really bad. Led the team in scoring, and it just seemed that him and Monty had this connection where they're going to do it for each other no matter what. Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals, and the Finals. Man, what's your eye test?
Yeah, jump on the Eastern Conference Final. Trae Young and this group did all they could. They basically outperformed any expectations anybody had for them. So kudos to them. But Milwaukee finally, I think they finally realized, particularly without Giannis, we can get this done. And Middleton is just a different player when Giannis is not on the court. He just is. He rises to the occasion. He takes over, and they start playing. And Bledsoe, not Bledsoe, I'm sorry, Holiday. Holiday has shown you that he's capable of being that extra guy. And to Black's point, it's right on. They keep watching Giannis. Giannis is hurt, and Giannis is trying to take over. And he goes back to the same thing he's been doing forever. Nobody want to admit that. Put his head down and drive right to the basket.
He does.
That's what he does. And everybody sit back watching, and then he missed, and they might do a little something other than that. But that's been his MO, and that's what he's known. And they tried to get him out of it, but when he gets frustrated, it's almost as if he has something he's trying to prove. And the team has already showed you in their Eastern Conference Final win that they can win without him if they need to. And it's hard for him to accept, I think. So, but they made it through, and they're in the finals. So what can you say? That's starting there. Going to the Western Conference Finals, as much as people don't like the Clippers, they gave all they had, man. They gave all they had. Actually, probably played better when they, besides having their stars, when the stars are playing. They gave, you think about Reggie Jackson, Jackson coming out. I mean, so many ballers, people just giving it out, giving all they could to play strong. Terrence Mann, just some amazing efforts. But it was Phoenix's time. Phoenix was like, nope, y'all, you guys are playing well, but not this time. So kudos to Phoenix. It is amazing. I tell you what, I've been watching Phoenix for a couple years. I remember when they drafted Ayton, and everybody was like, oh, Ayton's not that good. And I said, if you give Ayton some people that you can surround him with some good people, some veteran leadership, and be able to instruct him on how to play the game, somebody he can respect and listen to and receive that criticism and that talking him, pumping him up, that dude is on fire now, man. He is on fire. He's doubles and rebounds and scoring. He's just a totally different player. And Booker couldn't do it by himself trying to pump up Ayton. But you take a guy like a Chris Paul that's not really talking down to him. He's just like taking him under his wing like a little brother. Like, look, man, you the truth. You the real deal. We need you to do this. You can go. Let's go. And that has done tremendous things for them. Then you add in Monty Williams, man. I mentioned y'all earlier, even last year when they went 8-0 in the bubble, when he had that talk with them afterwards, it was like, we're gonna come back strong and say, then you pick up Chris Paul, then you got guys like Cameron Johnston, and my guy Crowder. I told y'all, man, if I go into a fight, I'm taking Crowder with me. If we go back in time, I'm taking Crowder with me. They said, we're going back in time. Bring me Crowder, because Crowder, like, I'm not scared. I'll fight anybody, and I'm tough like that. I love his game because he's just a DAWG. He's a true dog. But them moving on was very exciting. Also, was very impressive. Now they're in game one. They came out and they're like, you know what? We're not going to be denied. But the one thing interesting about this series is looking at some stats, the Suns are one of the top teams shooting in the league in the shooting the mid range, and that's one of the things that Milwaukee struggles with the guys that shoot mid range shots. They struggle that defensively. But the biggest thing is, and I think it was shown last night, Milwaukee has been making some adjustments defensively, and they tried to do it. They did it on Trae Young in Atlanta. So they would bring out a bigger guy like Lopez out, right? Put him on him, and then when he comes to the rack, they bang him, and he wouldn't be able to get the shots off the way that he did. They tried that last night, and they put Lopez on skates. Chris Paul, Booker, Johnson, some of them dudes like, so you big, you gonna come out and check us? What? Nope, I don't think so. They put him on skates, and it was like, when you do this, we're gonna take advantage of it, and they did that so many times. And I think that shows you that, again, I think Black was on point when it comes down to what kind of game is Giannis going to play. If he's going to try to be a hero, they're going to lose. They're going to lose because of the factor that, as he mentioned, I said it before, you can't do it by yourself. You cannot do this by yourself. You got to spread the team around. You got a couple of decent players. Sometimes you got to sit back. Remember when they played Atlanta, when he was healthy, Giannis, that is, when he was going to the rack, or even when they played Brooklyn, he was going to the rack, acting like he was going to go all the way, and then he would kick it out to the guy for the shot. That's what was working. But when you put your head down like that bull in the china shop and try to go straight at everybody, not going to work, bro.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out during the game when, and you're taught as a point guard, when you're going up against a bigger dude, I don't know why dudes try to reach for the ball like they're going to steal the ball. Just stay in front of that little guy. Because you saw, Chris Paul did a signature move, just making him reach. As soon as he reached, just go by him, just laid it up, finger roll like the Iceman. I'm like, dude, didn't you learn this in basketball camp? Don't reach trying to think you're going to steal the ball from a little point guard. They got ball handling skills. You're not going to take the ball away from them. Make them shoot the outside shot. But you see some fundamental mistakes that Milwaukee was making when they were losing to Atlanta that they cleaned up to beat Atlanta, and then they go right back to the same old mistakes. And you kind of wonder which Milwaukee team is going to show up each game. They come with it sometimes where you can't stop them. Then they go back to Lopez shooting threes and stuff like that. He was making his bones, so to speak, inside when they beat Atlanta. They could not stop him inside. Had one of the best games in the playoffs in his career going inside. That's their strength. But I think with this Phoenix team, I don't think that's a luxury for them, because Phoenix has what impressed me about them, they're benching their role players. Bridges, Johnson, the point guard that comes off the bench to relieve CP3. He used to play for the Bulls, and the Bulls gave him up. He's coming in, he's eating. And so it's hard not, just like Black says, hard not to root for Phoenix. And I'm going to go with predictions. I think Phoenix will win in 6. Black, predictions this series.
Yeah, I got them as 6 or 5. I think Phoenix will take the next one. I think Milwaukee's going to get 1 at home possibly. Then I got Phoenix basically wrapping it up, bro. I don't think Giannis has matured enough to realize that he has to kind of stand back and kind of let kind of things kind of go. He doesn't have to kind of be the man, but he feel like it's his team. He's still back. He's watched LeBron done it. He's watched KD done it, and I'm sure he's thinking that, bro, just get the ring. Just get the ring. For that reason, and part of the reason, I'm gonna take the Suns, and I think the Suns are just fine too, bro. I don't trust Milwaukee's head coach. I don't know what he says to him. I just don't. I mean, we've seen throughout these playoffs, man, that he does not coach them up well, bro. Like you said, there's no consistency. They'll play good, and then the next time you look at them, you're like, is that the same? They're wearing the same jersey, but they're not playing like the same team. Yeah. Where Monty, he just finds a way. He communicates with them. You actually see, and I said this to someone a little while ago, you see Monty Williams' imprint on the team. The coach for the Bucks, what impact does he put on that team? You just don't see it, bro. There's nothing about him with that team. So I think for that reason alone, man, that the Suns are gonna prevail in 5 games.
All right, Ice, your prediction, man.
I'm gonna go with 6. I think that Milwaukee will at least win 1 more game. But Phoenix is hot, man. They're just ready to go. They're ready to play. They have no fear. If they win the first two at home, it's gonna be dangerous, man. That's gonna be a hell of a hole. And there's a chance they could win both of them because again, yeah, it's almost as if in this series, Giannis is trying to prove something. I'm not hurt.
The MVP.
Yeah, I'm not hurt and I can do this and that, but that's not how you win because you notice no one guy can win by themselves. We keep saying that over and over, sound like a broken record, but it takes a teamwork, takes more than one guy, more than two guys to win, to beat a team. And Phoenix is a team.
All right. We look forward to the finals. I am thoroughly enjoying there. Two different teams that haven't been there before. Well, Phoenix has been there before back in the 90s. Milwaukee's been there before back in the 70s in the finals. But I'm glad that these two teams are new as far as this particular generation. And it's more exciting. I want to watch the game.
Much more exciting.
Particular time in the NBA because it's not the same old, same old. Even though I loved Golden State when they were doing their thing. I saw your guy from Undisputed. What's the guy's name? Skip Bayless saying I miss LeBron. Like I don't. No. And I guess he missed criticizing LeBron, being in the finals, all that stuff. I don't. I'm enjoying this. New blood, teams that will have a say so in the future finals. So I'm loving this right now. Let's go to the Major League Baseball report with Ice Water, man. Give me your eye test and any other baseball stories that are happening.
Last report before all of this stuff happens, ladies and gentlemen. That's okay. They don't love us over here. They ain't got no love for us, but it's okay. We're still going to do it regardless because I got love for y'all. Anyway, sponsors, got y'all living. Anyway, so look at the standings. AL East, Boston leads Tampa by 2.5 games. In the Central, White Sox lead Cleveland by 8 games. In the West, Houston is up by 4.5 on the Oakland A's. And you go to the National League East, the Mets lead Philly by 4.5. Thought Washington Nationals were trying to make a run. I think they're only 5 games back, but still the Mets are still in first place. Moving over to the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers are in first place, leading the Cincinnati Reds by 5.5 games. In the West, San Francisco is still leading in that division. They lead the Dodgers by half a game. Has some interesting things coming up very quickly. On July 13th, that's next Tuesday in Denver, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game will take place. And a lot of things are happening. People are excited. See how well it goes out there, especially with the fans being back. But one major name, I keep saying this guy's name, it sounds like a broken record. Shohei Ohtani is a pitcher. And he is one of the few people, actually he was elected to the All-Star Game at 2 positions, as a pitcher and as a hitter. Yeah, as a pitcher and a hitter. The guy's amazing. He's just a dual threat and all the way too. Also, congratulations to him because he set the single record for home runs for a Japanese-born player. He has the most home runs for a Japanese-born player in the season, 32. So the guy's dynamic. I like it because when you think about coming over and we think about diversity and stuff like that too, we know how baseball is usually set up. And then for somebody to come over here literally and make things happen and really have such an impact, despite the situations that he's faced before, says a lot. Says a lot about that. And I just like the way he plays the game, goes about it. And that's hard. Anybody knows anything a little bit about baseball, it's very difficult to pitch in the majors and hit home runs. He's a pitcher and he has 32 home runs. That's crazy.
ERA is 1.8.
Yeah, dude. Wow. Yeah, man. He's must-see TV. If you want to watch baseball, you want to check him out, except for last week when he got shelled early by the Yankees. But one time is okay for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm really worried about the Yankees. I'm really worried about the Yankees. Let's go to the WNBA report with Black Thor.
And Yankees got enough championships, man. So no need to worry.
27 is not enough.
I never understand that with Yankee fans. They get scared throughout the season. Haven't you won enough? Take a vacation. Really. The 25th anniversary of the WNBA has continued to move on. Something happened a few days ago. It's kind of interesting. We don't hear about this too much in the league. The Atlanta Dream has suspended their guard, Chedney Carter, until further notice. Now, this young lady was averaging 14.2 points and 3 assists a game. And they haven't disclosed what she's done, but they basically said it was detrimental to the team. So they kind of moved her away. maybe some point that comes out. Is a name that we don't hear too often. Brianna Jones. This lady had pumped in 34 points from Connecticut Sun to beat the Indiana. I think that night they lost to the Fever, but she scored 34 points. Now look for the Connecticut Sun. I'm not saying this because I'm in Connecticut, but look for the Connecticut Sun to go on the road because Shaquille Jones is back, and this team is ready to start to make some noise. Now Brianna Jones was so strong with her game and other games she played in the past week. She's the Eastern Conference Player of the Week, and of course, Aja Wilson. This is a name that pops up every now and then. She's always doing work, bro. If I remember correctly, this young lady has a statue of her at South Carolina University in South Carolina. Aja Wilson, Las Vegas Aces, was the Western Conference Player of the Week. We're moving on. They're going to take a little break for All-Star game, and I think some of the players are going to play in the Olympics. So that's going to kind of move things a little bit in the league. But it's not a bad season. Not a bad season.
Yeah, I'm really loving the play of Ionescu in New York. I mean, some of the passes that she's throwing, it's like, what? What? She is impressing me. They didn't get to play too much last year, but she really impressed me with her game, her vision, her court vision, and the way she really kind of controls the game for New York is amazing to me. Let's go. We'll talk about not basketball, but boxing in our overtime because Black do not talk about fighting. In other news that we're going to talk about is LeVon Bell's baby mama drama, Black. What the hell's going on with this brother, man? And the mama saying this is the worst human being ever.
I remember Andre Rison, Over the Moon Rising.
Yeah.
That cat when he kind of left football. I'm scared for him, bro. I really am because we talked about him last week the way he came out after Andy Reid, and at some point the league's going to close the door on him. His money is going to dry up. I don't think he has the right mentality. With all those kids, bro, he's going to be in a rough shape, man. Yeah. That cat's going to be in a rough shape financially. I'm hoping that he is smart enough to kind of find something to do. It won't be as lucrative as what he's done in football. And I think in his head, I think he can be a running back until he's 40 or 50, but that's not reality. And the bottom line, man, as a man in this country, you know, you can do a lot of different things, but you're going to be judged how you treat your kids and how you treat women. It just comes down to that point, bro. So for me to hear her say that and say that about him, and I'll say this too, because I always give both sides of the coin. If I'm a woman and I don't care what he does, if he has 3 other kids, I'm not giving him a 4th. I'm not giving him a 5th. I'm not going to give him a 6th. So if you're number 6 and you're complaining, sis, you didn't see the roadmap he traveled already? What's going on? I mean, realistically. So I'll give you both sides of the coin, but to me, he constantly shows you, bro, even when he's with Pittsburgh, his character is just simple. He's a simple guy, bro. Simple in not a good way, simple in a horrible way.
Yeah, 6 baby mamas, 7 kids, bro.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's a lot. Anyway, that's a lot. A real lot.
Cobra.
Yeah. See, hey. You know, look, you said so much that stopped the internet for a minute. Like, damn. Internet was like, damn, for real? Anyway, but I tell you what, man, you have to think about that from the standpoint of if you're going to do that, and I ain't mad, I would never say you should because that's a lot going on there. And you talked about Cobra, you gotta have money, and that's why I'm surprised why he's bashing these coaches and whatnot. You need to check, bro. You need to check because if he's already established whatever the child support situation is, right? So if he lose money, they're not gonna take it down. They're like, they gonna say you got to still come up with a way to give these people their money. So I don't understand at all. He might have to go into the weed business or something because y'all get with Mike Tyson or somebody because that was supposed to be his forte anyway, allegedly. So you might as well go on something that you can make some money off of. But when you have this type of situation and now you have people bad mouthing you or whatever, you need cash. Sometimes when you have cash in these types of situations, it makes it a lot easier because you can just start throwing money at things and they kind of not really go away. They just kind of, they quiet down. Anyway, I'm just saying, not I know that from experience, but I've heard some stuff. But that you can make some things, you can quiet things down when you have cash. But when you don't have a serious cash flow, what are you doing, Le'Veon? I don't know. I don't understand that part. Sometimes people with Black Doors on from the other side of the coin, people are going to come at you because they just frustrated with you or whatever. And then I think too that he mentioned about if women see a pattern, why would they do this? Some people get caught up in the hype, bro. That VIP mentality. People like to be see that be starstruck, and they like the nice things that come with it at the time. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I seen it happen. Just got caught up in it for just, oh, I'm a star for a minute. I got a brand new car. I have this, I have that, and such is my baby daddy. And then afterwards, you cuss him out, call him everything but a child of God. So
the worst human being ever.
Ever, yeah.
I mean that trumps Trump. Everybody, the worst human being. Wow. All right. We're not going to cover football players playing golf, but a wide receiver, N'Keal Harry, beats the Patriots to the punch. He's a receiver for the Patriots. He's probably looking at the horizon saying, I ain't going to get the ball with these two quarterbacks, with Cam Newton, who can't throw the ball, and this rookie coming in. So he wants a trade from the Patriots. Patriots are already thin and at the receiver spot, and it doesn't seem like they passed up a lot of receivers they could have had in the draft and in trades. Ice, what is this saying with Harry saying, hey, I want out of here?
I said I wasn't gonna say this, but I saw that because I have certain things I feel. I'm gonna just say this. I think he's trying to get out of the way before it falls, because he had an opportunity and when he was in New England, right? I know he was young and whatnot, but if you remember when all the receivers went down, he actually became Harry, that is the second option for Tom Brady when everything in his last season. And Tom Brady was forced to throw him the ball. And dude could not catch a cold, bro. I mean, he could not catch a cold. I'm sitting there going like, is that all y'all got? And Brady like, oh man, what the hell? You dropping the ball? Not saying you gotta be perfect, but you gotta make some kind of plays.
Took the air out of him and everything.
I mean, I'm sitting there going like, wow. And Brady was really trying to move the team along despite what they didn't have. And now maybe he's just trying to feel like he can do something better somewhere else. He needs to change the scenery, but I'm not sure that's going to help either. So you can only blame the quarterback for so long, right? You got to improve your game. And I haven't seen that. I mean, go back and watch that last season with Brady. And hell, you can't catch from Brady. Who the hell can you catch from him, bro? Real talk.
Black, what is it? What are they saying in the New England region about this move? He's trying to beat the Patriots to the punch.
Bro, I'm gonna say this. Since Brady left, it's been quiet when it comes to talking about New England. It's been real quiet.
Good.
They don't get a lot of juice like that. Their fans, Patriots fans, not wearing the Patriots jerseys, the shirts. They don't talk. It's like mom is the word. I will say, I'm agreeing with Ice where he couldn't catch. It's like, bro, if you couldn't catch it in one spot, when did you go to another team? But all of a sudden your hands start working. But I will say this, to me, I find this to be a little puzzling. I'm not sure what Belichick is doing with this team, bro. I mean, realistically, what Belichick is, I don't know what he's trying to prove. I don't understand it. You draft that quarterback from Auburn, and everybody knew he couldn't play in the NFL. He didn't make it on the field. Now you bring in Mac Jones, you bring back the other quarterback. You have no receivers, not much of a running game. Your defense is, you got players in and out. It's like I don't understand him. I know he believes in himself, what he can do, but I know he has a lot of cachet with the owner, but I'm just going to think forward in terms of 3 years. If they don't start to win in that division in a couple of years, Kraft got a decision, bro, because the game might. Who's to say? Yeah, he won a lot. He's done a lot, but it might just be the game has moved past Bill Belichick, bro, because it just might that. I know we say father time is coming for Tom Brady, but the game may have just moved past Belichick, bro. Because you don't have those players that are about the Patriots way anymore coming through there. You don't have those players anymore. They're not wanting to be there. For some reason, you're not drafting them. So it's going to me, I'm looking at, and maybe that's what the fans are thinking. That's why they're quiet. Because if you look at the Patriots the next 3 to 5 years, there ain't a lot of light in that tunnel, bro. There's not a lot of light in that tunnel. It's just not that I could see. And I'm not even a Patriots fan. But when you look at them, you would have thought that they would have still been somewhat of a team after Tom left. Bro, they're like, but they were depleted when he was there. But a lot of times, Tom Brady found a way. They play in the weak division, he covered that up. But who's covering that up now? Cam Newton can't cover that up. So it's going to be hard to see, man, what happens this year and beyond. He gets a pass this year because Mac Jones is a new quarterback. But 2 years in, if they're not clicking.
I guess the way I look at it, man, is that, man, if you didn't have any appreciation for Tom Brady and what he could do with a kind of a weak team, you have it now with what he left. When he left, they just did not look the same. And so you got to give him his due, how he kind of just held that team up for the last few years of his career there. And when he went to Tampa Bay, it was like the old Tom Brady game. He had some lapses where we laughed. I know I laughed at him a few games where I'm like, Tom ain't the Tom of old. And then Ice would text me like, you better leave that old man alone. You know, so I got you know, he's never going to be one of my favorite players, but I got a healthy respect for him and what he was able to do with a mediocre team and still win that division in the AFC. Ice, your first question.
Yeah, my first question is I didn't really get a chance to read the story, but I think it comes back to headlines. The headlines, and we'll see what you guys think. Something to the effect where it says, are the Olympics stopping African-American athletes, women athletes from being themselves? And it was a picture. I know they're probably talking about the issue with banning the swim cap. And then they also had, which really was confusing, they had a picture of Miss Richardson in there. And I'm like, whoa. So I had to go back and read that. But just that alone just kind of threw me for a loop. So I want to see what your thoughts is about the actual headline.
Black?
You know, I didn't read it too deeply, the one about the shower caps. And this is the reason why. It's because, you know, the Olympics is not the place, and it's probably never been a place to basically shine with your identity, bro. They just want your talents to be on display. They want you to come over there, entertain the world for the most part with your athletic gifts. And they're not going to welcome stuff like that. Now, shower caps to me sounds kind of petty, but we spoke of this last week. If you do well over there, what's going to happen for you in the future is what's be more important. So if you get locked in the shower caps, and for some reason, if you like a shower cap into being a Black person, you got some stuff going on in your head that I can't speak to. But stop looking at that. Focus on the object that need to get done and go get that done, bro. I think sometimes, and this may sound strange to say, sometimes we're a little too sensitive with the petty stuff, bro. Way too sensitive with the petty stuff. A shower cap? That's stopping you from being Black? I mean, think about, to me, when I read that, I thought about Jesse Owens. Did Jesse Owens wear a shower cap? Think about the time he ran over there. Those cats that stood with their fists raised up high, were they wearing shower caps? So, I mean, we got to stop with this trifling sensitivity stuff, bro. If they don't want you to wear a shower cap, go show them what you're made of. That's what you should be thinking. Show them what you're made of. It's not about a shower cap. Don't find little things to kind of just weave and wob over. That's my opinion.
Yeah, this goes back to the long history of Blacks not being in swimming pools. I understand everything Black is saying, and I agree with that. But it's almost like it's a reminder of that you're not supposed to be in the sport, and we don't want you dominating the sport. And we all got Black sisters and Black women in our family. You're gonna need a shower cap or something with that hair and that chlorine. You're gonna need something to protect that hair, because I don't think they got any beauty shops over there in Tokyo for Black hair. So yeah, and I understand it's kind of petty, but I think it kind of, to me, when I heard it, it linked to when Black folks were allowed to be in swimming pools and different beaches across America, and that's why you don't see a lot of Black people swimming. So when the sister won in the last Olympics, when she was just dominating in the swimming competition, it's almost, to me, I kind of had that thought in my head that maybe they're trying to eliminate some of the people of color that are coming into the sport. I don't know. That's the thought that kind of crossed my mind. But I agree with what you're saying, but those thoughts kind of crossed my mind, Black. Like, you know, I'm conspiracy.
I just want to say this real quick. You haven't had a good conspiracy in a long time, bro. I'm not even going to disagree with you with that, because you haven't dropped a good conspiracy. You should be on top notch with that, bro.
Give me 2 months. Give me 2
Let me
months.
think about it.
Give me 2 months. Ice your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot going on there. My only issue with this is when you talk about just with the shower cap. Okay, even if you knew there was an issue with it or you thought somebody might have a problem with it, again, they delayed the Olympics a year. You had to know that these sisters or whoever is running is going to be, I mean, who's going to be in the pool, had to know we might win this thing. So we might want to check to make sure our caps are cool. So if you can design a mask, people getting paid off a mask within 3 months or whatever it was, how long it took to get them masks up and get that money flowing. You mean to tell me you can come up with a shower cap that the sisters could wear that could be approved within a year's time? That's my only problem with that. I'm like, oh, they would let me wear my cap. But did you check with them? Hey, I'm wearing this cap. What's going on? You had time. And I know it's like, well, you want this last minute thing. What I mean, but damn, we keep making these excuses about what they doing to us, but I'm checking with them. Is this okay? No, it's not. Okay, well, what is? Tell me what's the parameters to follow. And then I'm gonna do my thing because we're gonna have a little color to it, whatever, within the side of the guidelines or whatever, red, white, and blue, whatever we're gonna do, or even from Africa. But I think we just have to be more assertive in finding out how to play inside the rules. I mean, it's very similar to you have now where we're hearing the thing about the sister that was the throws the hammer throw, and how she was up on the supposed to be on the podium, and she wasn't on the podium. And she says, well, they played the anthem before I could get there. Then she like, that's what they said. So I just got there late and I just stood there. It's so much crap going on. You either you with it or you not. If you don't want to be there and you don't want to do salute the anthem, just say I feel some kind of way about the flag. Okay, that's cool. You ain't spitting on it. You ain't doing nothing like that. All kind of people have turned off the flag or whatever so they could take care of it. Nobody ever talks about what Michael Jordan did, where he replaced his. He refused to wear the official Adidas
Right.
was the shoe,
Yep.
and he covered it up because he didn't want to wear it because of his loyalty to Nike. So it's always some drama. So I don't know, man. It's just when I hear that, I mean, and for them, I say this very quickly, to go back to try to compare this to 1968, things like that, I think is doing it a disservice.
Yeah.
Because them brothers were really for the business. It wasn't about putting the country down. If you standing on top of the podium and you put your hand in the air, you mean you still can't be a black man in America? What's so wrong about that? Now you look back at it, it's like they didn't disrespect it. They didn't turn their back. They just raised their hand with one glove. I'm an African American man or a black man in this country, but I wear a black glove because I'm struggling with some other things. Amazing to me, totally amazing.
They're trying to down. I know the Olympic committees and the Olympic, institutions are trying to downplay um, personal expression and political views and stuff. But it's going to be interesting how folks kind of play this out once they get on that, get on and they're in first place or second place. It'll just be interesting to see what they do and the backlash that comes behind that. Black, your question.
I just want to say this real quick, piggyback on what I said. If you decide to go, you got to do your due diligence. You got to check, okay, is this okay, that okay? You can't basically go and then when they tell you it's wrong, oh, it's woe me, I'm black. That just doesn't fly, bro. And I'm not going to say because they say you can't wear a shower cap, they don't want black people swimming, bro. Maybe there's some protocol. There's some protocol, and we don't want to play within the rules. And that's what lawyers do in this country every single day in courthouses. They take the law and they play within it to get what they got to get done. You got to find a way to play the game and play the game better than what they're playing it. There are certain rules and regulations, but that's what you do in your off time. You find a way to utilize and manipulate. That's what you do. Don't go to them and whine and complain when they say no. There's other ways around it. My question is, I was listening to a gentleman. It was a podcast with Dan Levitar, your boy, who's no longer on ESPN, and it has Hill and another cat that worked for ESPN, and they said something I found to be real interesting. Not that it was surprising, but they said that ESPN would basically always tell them things to avoid, not to talk about politically. And it wasn't until last year with George Floyd that they kind of opened up. So my question is, we as three, African-American men, black men, I prefer to say, Could you work in an environment where they're basically telling you you can't open your mouth and speak on certain things? We want it to be presented this way. It has to be done this way. You no longer have a voice because we're paying you.
I give it to Ice. I'm not surprised. Ice, your thought.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either. But I will say though that there's a lot of companies that say that because they figure and that say that they own you, but particularly in journalism, it's like they usually have allow you, if you will, if that's a choice of words, allow you to voice your opinions in opinionated pieces or editorials or something to that fact, or special pieces. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's more about them presenting the news unless they're in the discussion. But I don't know. I guess it would depend two things: how much money I was getting paid. You call me a sellout.
Right,
Call me a sellout if you want to. I'm be with that though.
Even A.
Yeah, I'm good with that. You know what? But there's other times that you can also express your opinion. You have other ways you can do it. But it depends on how serious it was too. Because if it's something that I thought was really vital, like a George Floyd or something, I probably would talk to somebody in charge and say, hey, look, I want to talk about this or I want to discuss it. And then we would go from there. But I think sometimes on things, I'm not saying they're trivial things, but anytime you want to say certain things, people get up in their feelings like, well, they told me I couldn't say this and that, but you got to look at the context. Also, too, if you don't like it, you don't have to work there. I'm being 100 with you. You don't have to work there. I know, like, well, this is my right. Yeah, it's your right to play NFL football too, but it's a privilege. It's not a right. So these are still private companies, and I know, oh, they don't like this. They don't like these kind of people. But at the end of the day, that's what I don't understand about this. When it is a private entity, oftentimes they dictate and write their own rules. We don't like it, but it's true.
Yeah, I mean, if you are in a private company or organization, they're going to have rules and regulations. I've been in situations like that before where I have gone to the higher ups and like, listen, this is what I need to do. This is my opinion on this, and I need to express myself with this because, um, you know, and doing it without affecting their bottom line, because that's what they're concerned about, their bottom line. And so there are ways you can do it. As my grandmother used to say, our grandmother used to say, is there's more than one ways to choke a dog, excusing bread and water. And so there are more ways you can do it. You can do it creatively. And I was always encouraged to do it creatively, not to affect the bottom line of whatever company I was working for. Black?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, bro. I think there's got to be a tactful way to kind of basically get it done. Here again, play within the rules, but you find a way to execute, manipulate, and get it done. And what I firmly believe is that with ESPN, a lot of the cats that came through there, they would just buckle down and just roll with it, bro. And to me, when you have a contract that's going to pay you X amount of dollars, a lot of dollars, you should be able to basically at some point, like you did, Puma, sit down with the policy. If it's nothing at lunch, have a conversation. Say, hey man, I think sometimes we need to do this. That brings forth change, bro. In its own way of bringing forth change. But when you basically allow them to mute you on certain things and just takes the money, to me at that point, you're almost like a clown. You really are. And I understand you're there for the sports part of it, but you're almost like a clown. And like you two both said, you're not surprised because we've seen this all along. It's like, don't matter who's up there, they kind of say the same thing over and over and over and over again. And this one cat made an interesting choice too. I mean, comment. I want to say this before I get out of here real quick. He said that if you notice, most of the black people ESPN hire and put out front are ex-athletes. Very seldom they hire a scholar, a black person that's not an athlete. They just hire black athletes. But if you're white, you can come in from this school, that school, and they look at you, they're impressed by it. But if you're not an athlete and you're white, they'll favor you. But if you're an ex-athlete, oh man, they're ready to basically roll the door over to you because what they believe, this is my quick thinking when I heard that black people will associate because they know the black athlete.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an intellectual, they don't think black people are going to associate with you. They know nothing about you.
Right. Good point. Ice, another question?
Yeah, my other question is consider, okay, let me ask you this. how as fans, and I can't say this for everybody because some people are true fanatics, but when you hear we have fans that watch football and basketball, how serious do you think they take the opinions of some of the broadcasters that they're actually uh, tuning into, as far as analysis and stuff? I'm just asking that question for a friend.
Black?
I'm gonna say this now. I think most fans that are savvy have realized what announcers and commentators to really take serious. So I think they know they pick and choose the ones they want to take serious. I mean, there's certain like I look forward, listen to, and I learned from. And I'm gonna say this, man. Before I get out of the way, ABC, ESPN, you cannot bring Mark Jackson and Van Gundy back next year, bro. It's time for them two to go. It's time. If you let homeboy go that was on Monday Night Football, what's the cat that you love? Prince Berman. If you let him go, Mark Jackson and Van Gundy got to go, bro. It's time. I mean, Van Gundy does nothing more than argue with the referees the whole entire game. It's just he gives you nothing else. He gives you nothing else. I wonder sometimes if Pat Riley wasn't kind to him, we would even know him and his brother, bro. I really do. I wonder. And Mark Jackson, I'm tired about everybody's great, this and that. Mark Jackson, and this may sound unfair to say, due to his religious views, the brother cannot really be concrete and straightforward and honest about something, man. He wants to praise everybody. People make mistakes, bro. Talk about it when they make mistakes. Don't be afraid to. That's realness. But it's time for them two to go. It's like, you got them on a Hall of Fame announcer and they dragging along. And I'm pretty sure, just like you, Puma, a lot of people turn their game down. And if you look at some of the comments that came off when Mark Jackson made that mistake, what people said about him, they said he's the worst, bro. And I know you may like him, might be fond of him, but he's one of the worst commentators that's out there. You tell me what he delivers when he's up there. You tell me. You tell me what he brings to the show, and I'll listen.
Yeah. One of the things that I do, the difference between guys that or women that can give you some insight on the games and those who don't. And usually when I'm watching a game, whether it's college, whether it's the pros, whatever sport, I turn it down and I put the music on when I know I'm not going to get anything. And because I know what's going on, and if they're not adding anything to the game that I need to learn or some insight, then I know I'm not going to get anything out of them. So, but some people who don't know that really get involved in that, and they take these comments and they take whatever the person's that's on these sporting events seriously, and that's the scary part because they take it as gospel, and then they're misinformed. They're saying things out of their neck. And those are the people you really can't argue with because they think they know everything because they heard it from, Charles Barkley or somebody else that is bringing nothing to the table. And so, and they tweet them and all this other stuff. So I'm able to do it because I've been doing this a long time. I've been in sports all my life, as long as I can remember. So I can discern between the fakers and the folks that are the makers. So, Ice, your thoughts?
Yeah, we have so many people, and I used to do the same thing when I really was deep into the media covering different sports. I used to always say, this information is for you to use at your discretion, for you to start thinking. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like what I say. You might say, man, he's tripping. He don't know what he's talking about. And I'm gonna go with that. But use your own intelligence, your own brain to decipher what you think about sports and how you receive it. And I think that's where a lot of people don't understand. You just got to do it like that. You have to do it like that because of the factor that these people are providing you with. One, they're supposed to be entertaining you, but secondly, they're supposed to be informing you. So you have to make a decision as to how serious do I take it. But it's changed, man, because back in the day, there was a thing called journalism. I don't know what we got now.
Yeah. You know what I wish? I know in the bowl game and the national championship game, they have the coaches that do the commentating on the game. I enjoy that much more than the regular commentary. I can listen to those coaches all day long because they're telling you, okay, this is what they're about to do. This is what I'm seeing. It gives you so much of an insight of the game. I'd rather watch that telecast. I wish they did that every game or the big games. I can listen to that all day long as opposed to some of the commentators that are out there who never played the game, don't understand the coaching, the moves, all that other stuff. Black,
it's kind of simple in a sense, but I found this to be where people are afraid to kind of chastise this person a little bit. I know LeBron James, I guess, was in Ohio, was at an AAU basketball game with his son, and there was a foul that went on for the most part with his son and whatever a call. And the commentator said, yeah, Brownie got that call because his father, LeBron, is here. LeBron basically stopped the game, walked over to the commentator and got into him. And from what I hear, people are like, well, you know, that's LeBron. That's not LeBron. I mean, I want to ask you guys what you thought of it. And to me, I mean, that's my point. What do you guys think of that?
Ice?
Yeah, anytime that you have, I don't care who it is, somebody that is interrupting the game or doing some kind of way because because of their person and what they represent is bad news to me. It's bad enough you got enough pressure in them damn AAU games where the referees and whoever else is are just on thin ice anyway, because there's so much expectations, wrong call, somebody might come out of the stands. And then for the announcers just to say what they had to say, I mean, who is LeBron to say that? That's his opinion. And he might be right. You don't know if the referee definitely said in his mind, I better let Bronny do that because I want LeBron to like me. Some people say, oh, that's trivial or whatever, but some of that's true. People are starstruck. They never been around athletes like that. They go, well, I want LeBron to be happy with me. But then again, it's just the freedom of expression. It'd be different if LeBron, if he was screaming at LeBron saying, hey, LeBron, sit your A down, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't that. LeBron must have heard him, and I don't think you just had a right to do that, man. I mean, one, LeBron, you better than that. If your son, what's the difference between your son at the AAU basketball game don't get a call? Seriously, or whatever. What does it matter? Watch the game. You can talk to whoever you want to. You have the right. But you coming after folks because somebody doesn't agree with you? Come on, bro. You better than that. You better than that. I know you are. But I don't know. I'm going to leave that right there.
Yeah, in my opinion, that's out of pocket, man. Sit your ass down and enjoy the game. You know, there are other parents there. There are other players there. Sit your ass down and enjoy it. And for you to interrupt a game, you know, all you're doing is setting a bad precedent for your kids because you can't be at every game and people are going to be coming after them. So it was the same like the Jordan kids. And I remember there was a player, Eric Gordon. He was playing against Jordan's son in high school. Eric Gordon lit their ass up. Go on YouTube and watch this because they were pumping up because Loyola at the time here, high school Loyola, was supposed to be one of the #1 teams in the country. And Eric Gordon, Jordan was there. Aaron Gordon went in there and lit them up. You know what Jordan did? Sat his ass down and shut the hell up because there was nothing you could do. This guy was taking both of your sons and just giving them the business. So I understand you're a parent, you want the best for your kids, but you ain't helping your kids if you're taking ownership for what they need to take ownership of. And I'm a strong proponent of that. You know, you want the best for your kids, you want to make sure they're getting a fair deal, but you interrupting the game, you know, that's not cool at all. That is not cool at all. Black?
What I thought was even worse, what you have commentators was afraid to say what we just said, bro. Mm-hmm. They were afraid. Because to me, if that was another parent that you didn't know, that wasn't LeBron James, you would be all over him. Oh, you stopping the game. It's wrong for the kids to see such. That's not teaching anything. Because of LeBron, it makes him a great father. It does this. He cares. He's all with the kids. The kids love LeBron. I heard this guy saying this on television. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you can love someone and basically speak out on that person and do something wrong. And I know Shannon Sharp wasn't the person I heard said this, but I'll just say, throw his name out. But Shannon said, you know, he missed LeBron. Bro, that crush is not realistic. He's a human being at the end of the day. And when any human being does something that's out that should not be done, especially retaining the kids, setting a bad example for kids, you should have the right to speak open and honest about it without retribution, fearing he's not going to like you. What is this, high school? That's what I don't understand with these sports people, journalists. It's not about LeBron liking you. You got a job to do, Ron. And if you're going to throw that out there and talk about it honestly. Because I guarantee you, if that was your kid playing and somebody said something about your kid out the way, went up and stopped the game, you wouldn't have been happy with it. LeBron or no LeBron. LeBron doesn't have carte blanche in his life to do whatever he wants to do. He's only a basketball player. Let's be honest. He does great things off the court. But at the end of the day, he hasn't solved cancer. He didn't cure polio. So let's keep it in perspective, please.
Last second shot, Ice.
Yeah, I told you I was gonna say something earlier, so I'm gonna bring it back around. When I was talking to a very close friend and talking about Miss Curry Richardson and her situation. You talk about you thought it might be a deeper problem, and I said I just don't get it why you're, as I said earlier, why you're so close to a situation to winning and living your dream, and you can't stop smoking. And they said, let me stop you. I said, yeah. They said, I had a situation where people have situations where you know it's the wrong thing to do. But when you smoking and you know you right there, you got a job interview, you got a job, they're about to offer you a job, they offer you some money, and you know it's the wrong thing to do, but you still smoke. Oh, it's gonna be all right. I gotta wait till tomorrow. You can't wait until tomorrow, whatever how long it is. And it's not to make a joke about it, but it's real. They said, look, unless you a real smoker, you don't feel me. They said a lot of people do that. When you a smoker, you be like, I know it's stupid as hell, but I'm gonna hit that. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. And he said that's real. And this is a person that is a connoisseur and continues to be a connoisseur. They're like, look, I've done it, had a job opportunity, and I could have got the job, and I didn't think I was gonna get it. They called me back 2 days later and said I got the job because somebody canceled. He said, I can't do it because I was smoking. He was honest. He said, I can't do it. Oh, he said, I didn't think I was going to give it to him. So but it's just the premise of it. It's sad, but it's true, man. So I don't understand it because they told me if you smoke like that, you would understand where it would come from. So that is my last second shot.
Black.
Double down on what I just said, because I remember, when this popped out, I had conversations with people and I said, she making it seem like it's the first time she smoked. It's not the first time. Boom, you and I both have lost our mother in our lives later in our life. I didn't run the cocaine when I lost my mother. I don't know if you might have ran to it, just didn't happen. So that to me doesn't hold water. And I think, we live in a time now where weed is being legalized all around this world, this country. And people are like, yeah. Weed ain't what it was 30, 40 years ago, bro. That's the reason why you got to keep smoking and you don't care about the consequences, because the stuff they're putting in it is not necessarily healthy for you. So I'm afraid that someday we're going to wake up. I mean, the COVID scared the Jesus out of us for months. But I'm afraid that these people are walking around smoking this and they can't have their day without lighting up all day, what it may be doing to your body and that stuff that's inside of it. I hope I'm wrong, but I think I don't think we scratched the surface what's behind the weed. And realistically, when these states say they want to legalize it, if you ain't smart to understand, that's about money, bro. That's not about, so you got pure enjoyment. It's not, they can care less. They can care less. So understand that fact. They're not doing it so you can enjoy yourself on the weekend, enjoy yourself throughout the day. They're doing it because they know you're dumb enough to do it, in my opinion, and they want to capitalize on it.
Good shots. I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. I know that my guys here aren't really big soccer fans, but I am. You got 2 championships that are must see. You have Brazil against Argentina for the Copa, and you have Italy versus England for the Euro. You got to check these games out. These teams have been playing their behinds off. And I should have played soccer in high school. Maybe I could have got some of this soccer money that's being all around. But I've caught the bug with football, as they call it. And these are the championships in the Copa and the Euro that are must see. And stay tuned. That is our last second shot. We will take a 2-month hiatus. We'll be back during NFL football season to give you your picks and all the stuff about football. And Ice has his lottery ticket. Hope it's a winning ticket, bro. If you haven't seen the show and this is your first time watching it, go back. We've done over 100 shows. Go back and listen to these guys. These are my guys. These are the guys that I will roll with. Even if we weren't doing this show, I'd be on the phone with them each 2 hours just talking sports. That's how we do it. We love doing this. We enjoy bringing this to you. We will see you soon. Check out our videotapes. More to come in the next season. Peace. Yeah, that wasn't her first time.
No, bro.
She's been getting away with it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yes. I mean, you can't tell me you get
in college
to that.
Yeah. So no, I think she used that as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Because no, you can find other coping mechanisms. Like I say, you this close, and you're gonna mess it up because you've been doing it all along, and you've gotten away with it, and you couldn't get away with it this time. But they got all these products you can use to get it out your system.
Dude, I mean, that's my point. You see football players all the time. Randy Moss be the first one that told you, look, Randy Moss is like when we got our break, I'm down there with the senior citizens. I'm on the pond. I'm getting my smoke on. And look, I know the date. I got to cut it off. And after that, I'm done. I clear my system. I start running, getting all this stuff out. I'm back on the field. Because I'm smoking. But you got smart about it.
They got products. You can just flush your system out.
Yes.
One of my bartender friends, he's a stoner. And he was telling me, he said, bro, this is what I tell people. Go to Trader Joe's, get the unsweetened cranberry juice. Knock it out just like that. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, man, I get jobs all the time. They test me.
What'd he say?
Unsweetened cranberry juice, Trader Joe's. He's like, knocks it out just like that. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He's like, no, he's a marijuana advocate here in Illinois. He was pushing for legalization and all that. I said, man, how you get jobs and stuff like that? He's like, man, unsweetened cranberry juice, Trader Joe's. Knocks it out.
So does that work for edibles too?
THC, it knocks out the THC. So yeah. I assume, but there's so many. You go on YouTube and people teach you how to beat the system all the time. I'm like, so if she got caught, it's like, man, she's kind of dumb. She ain't too bright because all the time, when you're going to get, unless they surprise her with a drop.
Bro.
Yeah.
Here it is again. You ain't nowhere in the world, like I said, it didn't happen last year. It didn't happen. So you had a year to know what you was going to be up against. A year. Either you're stupid or you just don't care. One or two. You had a year. I mean, somebody said, I forgot what they said. They said Percy Harvin always said, he said he was high every time he stepped on the field, bro. How he never said Percy? Think about that. I mean,
he never got caught.
Yes. So there's got to be ways to get around it. So it's like, you're just, that cocky, that arrogant to say, hey, I'm going to do this. And guess what? It's going to happen to me and I'm going to get out of it. That was but like you said earlier, that generation don't believe in consequences. They have yet to be raised. There's consequences to your actions. And they don't think, no, not me. Consequences for you. What I do, there's no consequences. And that's where she got caught up at. Because the people that are basically saying to you, no, you can't do that. Guess what? They're in a foreign country and they don't care nothing about you. Who died? You said who?
Legal everywhere. It ain't legal everywhere.
No. It's like my job, and they tell Connecticut just got legal the first of the month, July 1st.
Yeah, I was talking to Eric about that. Eric was like, man, what do you think about that? I'm like, I ain't got no problem with it. It's his.
First, my job made it clear. It can be legal wherever it wants to be. You better not test positive here for it. That's what we You better not test positive here. It can be legal wherever. They care less. If you fail that test, you're gone. And whilst legal in Connecticut is you're gone, bro. Wow. No, you're gone. Gone. No recourse. Nothing.
Wow. Yeah, I was when it happened, I'm like, she knew and she did it anyway. Something don't smell right.
Something stinking. I want some.
Yeah, basically. It's like, that don't sound right. Well, you knew it and you did it anyway. You couldn't find anywhere to grab a drink.
Yeah.
Grab a shot or something.
Yeah.
A couple shots.
Yeah, you've been done in the morning.
Yep.
Lambrusco.
Run.
Something. Lambrusco. Something.
So Ice, we got a big UFC fight coming up this weekend with Poirier and McGregor Part 3 on the 10th of July. I'm thinking Poirier is going to do much more damage than he did the first or the second fight. Um, and maybe go after those legs again to get him off balance and to break him. I don't think McGregor has really healed from that, to be perfectly honest. Your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, well, I mean, history tells us that you think Poirier was going to take McGregor down, you know, and be able to submit him or get him down or win the fight third time, right? But McGregor's a beast, man. He's a different kind of cat, and he's a mental cat. So maybe this is the time after, you know, the third time's the charm. Maybe this is the time that he gets his act right. Because here's the thing: even though Poirier is a better, you can never count out McGregor. Because if you get too confident, he's a gamer. He's always one or two moves away from winning. And I just don't know. As much as I want to say, yeah, okay, but I'm not gonna count him out. I'm not gonna count him out. There are certain games, certain fights that you watch, like when he lost to Nick Diaz. What's our other guy? Your favorite guy from over the way?
Khabib.
Habib just really just really destroyed him. But the other stuff, and McGregor's known to come back. What better way would this be for him to come back and win this, right?
Yeah.
And then it just opens the door for some other thing. And then you come back and Nate Diaz beat somebody of significance, and there's the trilogy. You already know how that goes. So I think that instead of just writing him off, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he has the potential to pull off the impossible.
What would you say to people who say that McGregor's skills have diminished over time and that he's not the fighter he once was?
No, I would agree with that. I can see why they say that because of the factor that is it because he is not taking this seriously or he's just in it for the cash? But I can see why their point will come up that way. But I think that's why McGregor would have to come up and really show you that he's still capable of winning a big fight. I mean, it's almost like when you think in boxing, when Pacquiao lost to Mayweather, everybody thought it was a wrap. When he lost to Jeff Horn, everybody said, "Oh, he's too old and he's bloodied up." Comes back, shocks the world by beating Keith Thurman. So you just never know that one. You just never know if that one guy, the older guy like a McGregor now, we'll call him older, right? McGregor now has one shot left, and I think it's possible. You just never know, especially if you fight a guy three times. I mean, if he can't beat him, it's probably gonna be one hell of a war.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this war this weekend. I wanted to get your thoughts on the war of words between Mark Breland and Deontay Wilder. They've been going back and forth with Mark Breland saying basically Wilder's all washed up. And Wilder has basically said of Mark Breland that, you kind of messed up the last fight for me and throwing in the towel and all this other stuff. I saw Andre Ward talk about this and say, hey, man, I'm on the side of Mark Breland. He's a great trainer and he was once a great fighter. And so he's not going to take this laying down. Your thoughts on this feud?
Yeah, well, it's rough because Wilder is what we consider a man's man, right? He wants to go out on his sword. And unfortunately, Breland didn't want to see him get hurt. So he threw in the towel because he was getting racked. He wasn't getting whacked. So how much punishment do you take? Because I guess he wanted to come out and be the warrior that he thinks he is. And that's shown to be. But as a trainer, you don't want to see a guy hurt. I don't care what he says or how hard the fighter says, whatever.
That's your job to protect.
Yeah, it is. And he can comprehend that. He wasn't trying to hear it. So he just kind of, pissed on him, if you will. And knowing that Mark Breland is a good dude, man, just in general. And then just all of these conspiracy things about he was trying to set him up and everything. But if you came out and fight the way you're supposed to, then this wouldn't be an issue. Wilder, I mean, if you said you're ready, you could have come out and did what you had to do, and you did not. But to continue to kind of spew venom on Breland, sooner or later he's gonna come back. He'll come back because you get tired of it. And the only problem I have with it, but it's his words, is saying he's washed up. I mean, that's
because he's untrainable, that he's done. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, the washed up part, I'm not so sure about that. I'll give you untrainable. Because if he's trying to teach him how to box, and then he does not want to receive it because he thinks he doesn't need it. That's one thing. But when you say washed up, it's like he has no more value. I'm not gonna go that far, but they have been in the gym. I'm only an observer from the outside looking in. But it gets to a point where if somebody keeps coming after you, sooner or later, you're going to say some things that probably are very hurtful, even though they may not be in the truest sense. And not saying Mark Breland is lying by any stretch of the imagination. His opinion is his opinion. But I will say that you only can take so much. Somebody keeps slapping you, hitting you down, putting you down, and keep beating you down. Sooner or later, you're going to rise up and defend yourself. And I think that's what Mark Breland is doing. And with all that being said, Wilder can blame Breland all he wants. I will say this, with this fight coming up, was it July 21st versus Fury? Wilder has every opportunity now, another opportunity to silence the critic, silence Mark Breland, and everybody. And this is one fight that Deontay Wilder cannot blame on Mark Breland.
No,
not this time.
Yeah. And I saw Deontay Wilder. He said he put up 310 on the bench. That's not 310, bro. You ain't fooling nobody. That wasn't 310. Any other boxing news that we should be aware of, man?
Yeah, again, like I said, that fight is coming real fast, man. That's July 24th. We're July 7th right now. That's like what, a couple weeks?
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited because it's so close. I still don't know why it came so fast.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what that tells me, as I said to you guys earlier, that Wilder has been training. Everybody try to act like he's been sitting on the sideline eating bonbons. No, bro. If he took that fight that quick, by July, he's been training. We have another great fight coming up for the a merger of for undisputed junior middleweight championship between Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano. Brian Castano is a hard-hitting guy, really strong, can put damage on people. Should be a good test for Jermell Charlo to see if he's ready at that junior middleweight clash. A lot of people coming for the junior middleweight title as well, because as you saw, we saw Lubin the other week. He's moving up. So many other people are ready to take on that challenge. So it'd be interesting to see what Charlo does there. Also, we're getting ready for the big fight, August 21st, Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr. And the question you have to ask yourself, how will Pacquiao handle it? A lot of people were saying that they thought because Errol Spence is somewhat flat-footed, according to some, that he might be easier to hit by the movement of Pacquiao. Not so sure about that one. But then again, if we're going to throw some conspiracy things, I know you like that kind of thing. We're going to throw some conspiracy in there. The question is, if Pacquiao does lose in a serious fashion and is put down, will this be his swan song? Is this it for Pacquiao?
That's something to think about.
Will he take the money and run? And is this it? I mean, you got guys like Triple G who haven't fought forever, and he's still waiting around for that long payday. But you have to ask yourself, what will happen with Pacquiao? Now, Keith Thurman has been put out there. He hadn't fought in like 2 years. A lot of the young guys are coming at, calling him out, and he says, I'm not fighting for that, which kind of tells you I'm going for the money.
Yeah.
But and last but not least on this, I'll look at it where they're trying to see how would Terrence Crawford, who's talking about moving up to 154 to fight, how will this impact his next fight? Will he come back down 147 to fight the winner of Pacquiao, Errol Spence, if it's offered to him? Also, too, Danny Garcia is talking about moving up to 154.
And he wants to fight Pacquiao, I
Yeah,
heard.
right. He does too. Everybody wants to fight Pacquiao. It's cash money, straight cash money. But my question is, if Danny Garcia moves to 154, why not fight Terrence Crawford at 154?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, since you don't want to fight my guy, you don't want to fight my guy from Akron, poor Sean Porter at 147. I would like to see Danny Garcia versus Terrence Crawford at 154. But then again, he may say, I'm not going to fight that fight because if it's not a person that has a title, what am I wasting my time on?
I think that's a money fight because you have two guys at their prime that want to fight. Everybody recognizes those names. And Terrence Crawford, I haven't seen Terrence Crawford in a long time. He's been inactive. So people will want to see that fight. And Danny Garcia always brings a good fight.
Right, and I agree with that 100%. But see, for me, I think the bigger fight and the bigger money fight, and also the fight that would get Terrence Crawford closer, because now we're hearing Spence saying, yeah, I'll fight Crawford, I'll fight Crawford. But imagine if Crawford fought Porter, Sean Porter Jr.,
That would be
Sean Porter, and he beats him soundly.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, now what? Now what?
Yeah.
Now you said going there, the guy that you struggle with, I destroyed him. Are you scared now?
Right.
That's pure evidence to me.
Yeah.
Pure evidence, because now everybody's chasing Canelo, but now Canelo's putting it out there that the only way, the lowest way he's going to fight right now is 168, which is forces Jamal Charlo, who might be on the radar for Canelo, is going to have to come to 168. And ironically is this, they said the name that I think his promoters and his trainers guys were saying they had somebody, then they're thinking about Charlo. But I think that, and I'm going to say this one time, you want to hear this one time, the Charlo's struggle with his last fight might have opened the door where they think they saw something, and now they feel, oh yeah, we can get him because he didn't look good against this guy. And it might work towards Charlo's benefit because of the way that I wouldn't call it struggle, but he had more of a challenge with this guy. It might have provided him with an opportunity that he never would have received before.
If I'm not mistaken, that's an old boxing trick. Have a bad performance to get a fighter to bite and then tear his ass up when you get him.
I want to see that fight for a number of reasons, but I think Charlo would challenge Canelo.
Yeah.
And that's what I say. I mean, we talk about Triple G. We know how good Triple G really was back in the day. He's going to be older now, but I want to see Canelo in there with a fighter that can hit him, can hurt him, have a chance of hurting him. And some of these champions at 168 that he just kind of went through, they were too slow.
Yeah.
They were like robots. They were, they're like very, very frigid in their movements. And because he's been moving around and dancing, I'm telling you, I said once, and people have said it before, the fight against Floyd Mayweather was the best thing that ever happened to Canelo in his life.
And according to Yahoo, Canelo is pound for pound the best fighter out of the top 10. He's number one. I wouldn't agree with it, but
who would you say then? Who would you say number one fighter is?
I have, I'm kind of biased towards Earl Spence.
Okay.
So you know that, and Terrence Crawford is a close second at this particular point. Lomo's still on the list. Fury, I think, is number 9, but Chuck Alito got to be in the top 10. I would put him in the top 10. I have to go with Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, and then you can kind of have it from there.
Yeah, I think somebody that they're not putting in there, and I'm sure we might get that fight again, is Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, I think he's up there too.
I think he deserves to be up there, and I would love to see him and Lomo fight. There's a chance they might be talking about a rematch. But right now, I would say the reason why I think Canelo is considered number one because he's more active. He's been a lot more active than anybody else. And he went through the super middleweight champions 168 and just and a lot of O's were there, a lot of ones, but a lot of O's. And you like, how the hell did you go through it? And maybe they knew that because of the style of these fighters, he could run through them and get this done real quick. But I'll say nothing else. He may not be the number one top guy as far as the best pound for pound fighter, but his people are damn sure the smartest.
Yeah.
Because he's made
keeping them out of trouble.
But they made a lot of money too, though. They made a lot of money going to places that most people wouldn't expect. Like you went to Miami, then instead of going to Vegas for his last fight, he went to Dallas.
Yeah,
and with a huge Mexican Hispanic population, they made a boatload of money because people wanted to see the fight.
Yep. So they're shrewd businessmen and women in that camp, and they've been keeping him out of trouble. He hasn't been really touched up, and they're prolonging his career so he can make a lot more money. De La Hoya they're having their own feud with the Canelo camp and the De La Hoya camp. So I don't know if you want to talk about that or say.
We can. You throw it in there. What you think?
I think it's a lot of much to do about nothing. He left the De La Hoya camp because he wasn't happy, probably wasn't making the money that he wanted to make. And De La Hoya, he has his own issues, and he's trying to be the next Floyd Mayweather as far as what to do after your boxing career is over with. And he has an exhibition coming up pretty soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to, De La Hoya was having some issues. Like his life was kind of going back and forth when he had Canelo. Not all the time, but he'd be up, down, and I think that's why he should have stayed connected with Richard Schaefer, because Richard Schaefer took care of that, particularly when Floyd was there. When Floyd was in his heyday and in his prime, they didn't miss a beat. And I think that they really needed somebody like that could be a matchmaker, but also could really give Canelo the power that he needed. And once it dissolved, then it's almost like sour grapes. Because like Bob Arum from time to time would say certain things about Floyd. Floyd could have done this with us, but Floyd's like, dude, I'm by myself. I'm making millions of dollars. I did just fine without you. And I think Canelo's kind of feeling the same kind of way. Mm-hmm. And to the point where he's like, you're not respecting me. It's telling one of those points like Rocky versus the younger guy, right? In the movies, it's almost as if I'll fight you right now. And then Canelo was like, I'll fight you right now. Rocky, De La Hoya would say, my ring's outside. Because that's the only way he probably could beat him would be like in a street fight. But I think he's just got some bitter taste in both of their mouths because it didn't turn out that they want to. And they had a good thing going.
Yeah, they did.
They had a good thing going. And now to see a guy just kind of say, I'm not with them anymore, and he's doing this on his own, that has to be a tough pill for Oscar to swallow, especially when you really is not done having any great other talents. I don't even, what Golden Boy, do they have really anybody else that?
Not that I can to think off the top of my head. No.
There's a lightweight kid coming up. I know that's pretty good.
Talks a lot, but yeah. He hasn't been fighting the competition.
Right, and he's young, but he's young. Yeah. But you had the number one guy supposedly in boxing, and he got away from you.
Yeah. That's our boxing expert, Ice Water.
I saw where I guess I caught this story. It was a baseball player, I guess, for the Dodgers. What's the old pitcher? Dave Stewart is not coming to the Dodgers based on the way they treat the guy on this sexual assault case that he might be facing soon.
Yeah, Bauer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's not coming.
Yeah, I guess they're getting ready to do a celebration of the old World Series or something with the World Series, and he says he's not coming. He don't like the way the Dodgers are basically allowing this guy to continue to play and not sitting him down. The Major League is not taking a stance on him.
I thought I was going to ask you about that because I just thought it's a relevant story to me about the bobblehead. They're taking his bobblehead out. Like, what the hell does that mean?
I think they're just trying to be very careful. And I know, and I can't speak for him, but back in the day, Dave Stewart had a few things going on, and they came for Dave Stewart.
Yeah.
They came for Dave Stewart. Yeah. Talking about Dave and Stewart with different people in the car and stuff like that. They came for Dave Stewart, and Dave Stewart is like, so y'all gonna let him just do whatever? So yeah, Dave Stewart, I think feeling some kind of way because he said back in the day, y'all came for me and I had to work through that. So I don't know. I mean, I can see the irrelevancy of it, but I also see where baseball is. Anytime any charges are coming up like that now, they're going after people. But Dave Stewart is probably, even though he won't admit it, he's still kind of holding on to some stuff he had to go through because he did go through it because they were talking about his sexuality and everything. And my point was, whatever it is, if you pitch it, I don't give a damn what you do. As long as you ain't hurt nobody, you wearing wigs, whatever you're doing, I don't give a damn. And it's not hurting nobody else. You know what's going on. But I think he is really just he's probably thinking about the hell he went through to try to be still part of baseball.
Wait a minute. People don't question your sexuality unless they're smoke most of the time, bro.
Hey, I'm going to just say this. I ain't going to talk about nobody because you never know. You might be in a situation. See, that's why I'm very careful. Because you might be in a situation, things is working right, and then you turn around in the back seat, what you thought was something else was happening. You had nothing to do with it, but you happen to be there. I'm just saying. So I tread very lightly before I start talking about people situations, because you never know. We say, oh, what the hell? I'm just saying.
Like Eddie Murphy with the big feet.
Yo, I'm just saying, hey. Put my hands up on that one, brother. You just never know.
I think Eddie Murphy went out of his way, man, to have more kids to try to prove that he ate that, bro.
I'm not
He
that.
went out of his way
I'm not
to
that.
try to prove.
Hey,
What the hell is Nick Cannon doing though, man?
dude.
You know what? I heard him say something, man. And it's so funny. When I heard him say this, I thought about a little bit about Elijah Muhammad. Yeah, he said, you know, his life has been, I guess he has an illness that a couple of times he's been very sick. So he's to the point now where like he wants to kind of populate because he doesn't know how much longer time he has here.
Wow.
In so many words, he's kind of saying that in a sense. So it's like, you know, if you walked in his shoes, that's what he's feeling. And that took me right back to Elijah, because that was a falling off. Basically, when you think about between Elijah and Malcolm X, Elijah wanted basically to have his, you know, his seed walk around when he was no longer there. And he wasn't doing it with his wife, or so-called wife. And that started the crumbling. But I heard him say that, or somebody read that and said that. And I was like, okay, I mean, not that I'm justifying it, but that's where his head is.
Okay.
So that basically whoever then, right? Was, you know, he got an open pass or whatever. Is that what he said?
No, but you know, here's the thing, man. It takes two. And the woman that are signing up for, you know what they're looking at. Come on, man. I mean, realistically.
4 kids in 1 year. I'm like, dang, bro.
I'm saying, well, yeah, that's anyway. You got to have some coin for that, bro.
Oh yeah.
Look, broke brothers ain't allowed to do that.
There are a lot of broke brothers who are doing it.
It's true. Maybe twice in a year.
Right. But then those are the type dudes that start disappearing because they don't want to have nothing to do with it. They just want to disappear, except for Ray Caruth. Anyway, allegedly. Anyway.